Okay, in this segment, we're going to talk about statistics. I'll start this off with a disclaimer saying that I'm not a statistics guy. Um, I calculate the numbers that I use in the statistics table um, from the information that I have coded into the game, into the individual play information. And there are a couple of reasons why my numbers may not exactly match up or total up the way that they ought to. One is that I don't have any QA on my data entry. I'm doing it myself. And the other is that there are conventions for recording statistics in football that I'm just not aware of because I don't do it. I'm sure that if I got to the point where I commercialized this media player, the first thing I would do is go and find a statistics person who really knows how statistics are recorded for football and make sure that we get it right, because it's important to me that it is right in a production environment. In this prototype environment, it's not that big a deal, but I am conscious of it. So with that said, let's take a look at what we have here for statistics. We're going to go to the beginning of the second half. As you can see in game navigation, we're at the beginning of the third quarter, and we'll look at the statistic table over here and just kind of walk through it and see if things total up the way that they ought to, and if the numbers make sense. We're divided into three sections here in the statistics table. The first red line are titles for the total offense, passing yardage, rushing yardage, and total yardage per team, home on the left and away on the right. The quarter summary rows give you the totals for that quarter. So when we're at the beginning of the third quarter, then the total yardage for first and second quarter should add up to where we stand right now at the beginning of the third quarter. This yellow line always represents the cumulative totals up to that particular play in the game, to the current play in the game. So at the beginning of the third quarter, there's nothing that's been added in the third quarter yet, so we look at passing yardage in Q1 is 50, passing yardage in Q2 is 141, and so the total is 191. So that adds up. Same thing with rushing, 59 and 5 adds up to 64. Total yardage adds up. Second section is about passing, the passing game. Completions, first column. Second column is attempts, and interceptions is the third column. We had 4 completions in the first quarter, 2 completions in the second quarter, so 12 to date in the game, up to the current play in the game. 9 and 12 for the attempts, for 21 attempts. Third section is the running game. We have attempts in the first column, yards per carry in the second column, and fumbles in the third column. And so we had 8 attempts in the first quarter, 6 attempts in the second quarter for 14 up to the beginning of the second half. Yards per carry is calculated from yardage divided by carries. Notice we didn't have any interceptions here for the home team, but we had 2 interceptions for the away team, which is very often the name of the game. We'll see that at the end of this game, that was a pretty significant factor in why Ohio State lost this game. So let's go back and run some plays and watch the totals change. Actually, let's get a little deeper into the third quarter before we start moving. Actually, let's go to the fourth quarter and jump up a little bit. So we're in the fourth quarter. We're about a quarter to a third of the way through the final quarter of the game. And if we start walking through plays, you'll see the numbers on the yellow line change, because again, this is the total to the current play in the game. So as we step from play to play, these numbers will change, these numbers may change, and these numbers may change. So let's do that. We'll actually run here so we have something more interesting to watch. So let's see, Ohio State has the ball, so if you watch the right hand 3 columns on the yellow line, you should see those numbers changing as we step from play to play. Now notice we only show the quarter summaries for quarters that are completed. When we get down towards the end of the game, within the last 2 plays of the game, I start showing the quarter summary for the fourth quarter. And then, of course, at the end of the game, the yellow line should really just be the sum of the quarter summaries. I didn't mean to do that. Let's go back up here and jump ahead a couple of plays. So notice over here how the quarter summaries collapse as we go back to prior quarters. Let's step ahead a few plays and then we'll step forward in the game using game navigation. Okay, we'll step up through the series here to the last possession, and then we'll start stepping by play. So as I said, as we get closer, we're at 1:21 left in the game. As we get closer to the end of the game, I'll bring in the fourth quarter summary information, and there it is there. And that's the last play of the game. So when we look here now, the sum of these 4 quarters should add up to this number that we have at the end here. And like I said, it may not add up because of the way that I handle penalties and the way that I count plays and count yardage and so on, but the intention is for that to show what happens quarter by quarter. And you know, we see this, that there are 4 turnovers by Ohio State in this game, and that really killed them. Two turnovers in the fourth quarter. It's you can't do that and win games. So that's it for this segment.